time coming. Like this, like 2 years we've been in quarantine. Like since then, I feel like this has been.
Boys, we've been having drunk conversations about this day for probably 2 years, honestly.
Yeah.
Like the Kellys wearing Westport.
That's why, like, I'm getting so hyped to do this. Like, we've talked about doing this since like the day has like finally come.
Yeah,
we made it.
Yeah, so Smitty, I was telling my dad I was doing this podcast because he used to listen to my old one, so he was like interested. He's like, "Oh, how'd you meet the Mike?" And I'm like, "Oh, like we played fantasy football together, and like through a guy I went to law school with, and then just became boys, beer Olympics, you know, shitting on each other on Twitter, and now we're doing this,
dude. And
crazy,
dude. I'm glad you brought fantasy football up though. I mean, reigning 2019 MVP champion, gonna retire after last season.
I sold my soul. To win this year's fantasy football championship. I gave up like so much just to win now, and it bit me right in the face because I had Kelsey, I traded for Tyreek Hill, had Mahomes. Like, I went all
questionable
into it.
Tactics.
You
can't
beat
loan
me,
players
dude.
in the middle of fucking fantasy football season.
Hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, dude.
All right, well, let's get on to the rundown. Dude, this whole COVID-19 thing is crazy. Everyone's kind of dealing with their own different way. Like, people are like, "Oh, we're in this together," but like the reality is like everyone's kind of like on their own. Feels kind of like on an island. So, how are you guys doing with this whole thing right now?
Go for it. I know Mike's having a hard.
So you guys are still working, right? I'm the one that's furloughed here, right? Yeah. You guys still work from home. So I have completely like bought all into. I am just playing hooky from life. Like, you remember, in school when you're like, dude, I just don't want to go to school today, and like you faked sick, and somehow your parents bought it, and then you're like, all right, now I'm not going to school. Like, what do I do today? And like, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, all right, well, I just wake up whenever I want to. Like, I shower whenever I want to. Like, I'm 30 years old and have no responsibility right now.
Instead of blocking,
my sleep schedule's wrecked.
Yeah, like, I'm just like, you know what, dude? Like, I'll wake up at noon if I feel like it, and I'll take naps during the day. I mean, I have there's people out there right now that are like, all right, get fit, but I'm like, nope, I'm going the complete opposite. I'm embracing this quarantine. Yeah. Like, I'm buying chicken nuggets and pizza all day, baby.
Yeah.
Bro, dude, I was in the middle of a really good workout routine. Sorry, Tommy. Middle of a really good workout routine and schedule for about a month and a half, and then this happened. And I've done like 8 push-ups maybe since I've been in quarantine.
Dude, I'm pretty sure
10 is really hard to do.
My Apple Watch thinks like I died. Like, my Apple Watch is like, dude, your move rings are a lot farther than this, and like the move rings haven't even moved. Like, I'm like, yeah, we got problems right now.
Yeah, you averaged 1,000 steps yesterday, and you're only at 250, and it's 9:00 at night. You walk to and from the kitchen in the shitter, and that's about it.
Yeah.
If only pulling the trigger on an index finger counted as a step, Mike would be at like 10,000.
Dude, I play Call
of Duty.
I play Call of Duty all day. Like, it's like I'm back, like I'm 18 again. You know?
Yeah.
It's not a bad
thing. Dude, it's a lot of 2K for NBA 2K for me, because like work is like ebb and flow. Like, one day's really busy, and the next day is like nothing, like radio silence, like don't hear from anybody. So like it's almost like I wish it was one way or the other, where I was like busy all day long every day, or I had literally nothing to do, because like it sounds so like it sounds so soft. It's like, oh, I have work part of the day, but then the other part of the day I don't. But it's like, I wish it was just one or the other, because in that way I could either feel like, oh, I've got this whole day to do whatever I want, or I've got this whole day that I have to work. And so it's like, one day I literally rolled through like all of season 2 of Ozark, while I just like sat at my computer and just like jiggled the mouse and answered emails. So it's like, I hope my employer doesn't listen to this, because then I'd be like in trouble.
Dude, same. So, dude, I am going to be logging a ton of hours, but like the work's not that hard. But like, so our company received a loan for the lockdown, and so we have to meet these requirements, and part of them are labor hours, and it's a lot of work.
So you're footing the bill?
Yeah,
on the
so like
hours. Yeah.
and so if we don't meet these requirements, we have to pay back the loan in full. And so it's just like one requirement is labor hours per week, and it's just like everyone's at work all the time. There's too many people there, but like we can't send anyone home, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Hopefully they aren't listening.
Yeah.
Hopefully no one from work's listening to this. I'm not complaining, I promise.
Have there been any like like Smitty? I know you said you just like chicken nuggets and pizza. Like, has there been any like go-to like grocery item like every
Hold
time?
up. Can I bring up something that has been really frustrating to me?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
The face mask argument. The people who
Yeah.
are anti-face mask versus face mask.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the masks?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
shit.
so like a few people have been like, the guy I worked with, for instance, yesterday was like, hey, I don't think, this face masks are stupid. He was really convicted about it. He's like, face masks are stupid. They don't do anything. And I just I told him, I said, dude, I cannot have this conversation with you. I'm so worn down from hearing this. Like, okay, in my opinion, like a face mask is it's gonna cut down on like the surface area, in my opinion, of where, a strain of the virus could get into your system. And like maybe it stays there, maybe it lives on the surface area of a face mask longer, but like, goddamn, don't like shit on people who wear it, because I mean, even if it doesn't work, it's like a placebo mentally. It's helping people mentally.
I won't shit on anyone's like own personal health preference during this, because
right?
like everybody's got like varying degrees of like hypochondria or like varying degrees of like just experiences with like other illnesses. Like, who knows? Somebody might have like a compromised immune system. So like, I'm not wearing a mask, but I don't judge anybody, and I don't really have an opinion on either way. It's like, if you go out and you touch something and then you take your mask off, that's going to get you sick. So it's like, how much good does it really do? I don't know, but I'm also not going to tell somebody, you're wearing a mask, it's not going to help.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't really, like, with me even not working, like, I don't go anywhere. I literally leave the apartment just to go get groceries, and that's it. Like, I let my dog out, and that's it. So like, but with me, I don't like. I'm gonna start wearing like a ski mask just to cover it up. Like, I know it's probably not the best thing, but it's what I have right now.
Yeah,
It's
gonna look like you're about ready to rob.
Right.
So like,
yeah,
you being a gay bear, do you feel like more like you have more of a compromise? Oh my gosh. I was trying to take a shot at you and I couldn't even get a complete sentence.
What did I do? Sorry, I had a phone call.
Oh, you're good. So just like, yeah, to your point, Sarah, it's like teach their own. But like, Smitty, I was gonna ask you, like, grocery store, like you go there, like what is obviously there's the essentials like eggs, like I don't know, bread. Essentials have changed. Like I feel like everyone's like, oh, bread, milk, eggs, like those are what we need. But like, what's like the one thing you go to the grocery store you cannot like leave without, besides alcohol? What is like the thing you cannot like leave without that you absolutely like have needed to get you through all this?
Dude, I'll tell you, it's Eggo waffles, but the cinnamon, like this, you know what I'm talking about? The mini cinnamon that
They're
like
the shape of the French toast.
Yeah, dude, I like will eat those even without syrup. I'll just eat them straight. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I love them with syrup, but like I bought a 24 pack the last time, and dude, it's just like I feel like those are so slept on.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy you say that because
I've never had them.
Like the second day I was back with my parents, my mom went to the grocery store and she was like, I got something like super cool that you're gonna like love. I'm like, oh, like what is it? And she like brought out a box of those, like the cinnamon like toast, like Eggo things. I'm like, that brings me back to like 2003, like so hard. Like I used to eat those with like a Glacier Freeze Gatorade, just like just nothing on them. I'd just like eat that and like just sugar on carbs and sugar. Dude, like that was my go-to snack.
Let me ask you, because I'm like a cinnamon like fiend. Like I love cinnamon. Did your mom or your parents ever make like homemade like monkey bread? Or like my mom used to do like the like the toast, put butter on it and cinnamon sugar.
Cinnamon, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, dude.
You think about
jam.
that was breakfast like 3 times a week, which is wild now when you think about it.
My mom would make like monkey bread on Sunday. So like my dad and I, like we'd all go to church, and then as soon as I come back, like mom had like monkey bread ready to go, and I just feast on that for like 3 or 4 days. You just wrap it up in tin foil, throw it in the fridge, pop it back out.
It's totally
Tommy, can I answer that question too?
Yeah, go for it, Sawyer.
The trail mix with like peanuts, cashews, M&Ms, destroying that. Every time I go to Hy-Vee, there's none in stock, which is great. And then a weird snack I've been eating at night, because I've been hungry at night now because my sleep schedule's messed up. Rice cake with peanut butter on top. I eat 2 of them at like 11:30 almost every night. Real good.
Dude,
real good.
Don't sleep on that. Don't sleep on rice cakes. Do not sleep on rice cakes. Dude, the peanut butter intake has been like wild for me during this. Like peanut butter on Eggo waffle, like peanut butter on toast, like Kelsey's eating a shit ton of peanut butter too, because like that's the only way to keep her like preoccupied for like an hour. To like freeze peanut butter in her Kong. Like I've gone through like a jar and a half of Jif already.
Dude, I don't like peanut butter. I need to give you that freezing cold take. Yeah, you guys can have all that peanut butter you want.
I do not like peanut butter.
Dude, I tried liking peanut butter, and I don't like it. I don't know. Like everybody's like, you're un-American, but
it's not un-American.
Also,
I feel like it was like
K-State
inhuman.
fan, so.
Yeah, that too. K-State.
Should we dive into that?
We could dive in. Yeah, like, well, there were a few more things before we dive into that. Drink of choice during this. I know, Smitty, I've seen like your snaps. Like you got the Tito's. You like dabbling here and there. Like, what is in your go-to end of the day? You're like, all right, my day's over. I can finally.
My day's
indulge. Over. And what's the earliest you've had a drink during this? And then what's been your go-to?
Dude, I think I started drinking like it was like on a Tuesday at like 11 o'clock. I pretty much woke up, like I had some coffee, and I was like, you know what, like I ain't got anything else to do. You guys talking about like peanut butter intake? My alcohol intake has gone up. Like I was like, I'm not buying bottles anymore. I'm buying like jugs of like liquor. But no, like I'm a vodka soda guy. Like I mix it with the bubbly. I really do like the bubblies a lot. I'm a big bubbly fan. But if it's not vodka soda, I'll drink. I've been getting into whiskey a lot more lately. Like I've never really been a whiskey guy, but like I've bought a couple bottles of Woodford, and I drink it on the rocks. But like I'm starting to get into whiskey. Like I said, I've just never been a whiskey guy, but yeah,
giving it a shot.
Yeah, no, it's good, dude. I love the Woodford.
Yeah. So what about you, brother?
I haven't drank since St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
Damn.
That was the last time. Went to a few bars. Probably was way too close to a lot of people. And haven't drank. I mean, honestly, I only really like drinking if it's like for an event, or if I like to go out with my friends and talk to people. But like I don't really ever drink at home.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just too depressed to use a depressant at home,
Dude, that's where I am. I just drink these.
Spindrift, dude.
I drink these. I probably drink like 6 of these on average a day, even when we're not in quarantine. And they're expensive. They're like $1.50 per can.
Yeah.
So it's but they're so good. And especially like since I don't drink anymore, like replacing something like carbonated, like I used to like love craft beer. It's kind of just like that little like replacement to like get that. And my sister also got me like a hop tea from like Trader Joe's that's like made with hops, but it's like non-alcoholic tea. It's like really, really good too. So I've been drinking those.
Sounds tasty.
Yeah. So last thing on the intro, Smitty, you want to talk about what TV, movie, or show? I guess TV show we're either been most looking forward to or enjoyed the most during the quarantine. So Sawyer, you sound like you're ready to go on this one.
Yeah, start it off.
Yeah, dude. I watched I've been watching a lot of just random crap. I watched an episode of Carnival Row. I thought that was really interesting. It was really dark. It's on Amazon Prime. It's Orlando Bloom. It's like there's like fairies. They call them fays, and they have wings on their back, and like everyone's like,
Oh, I did see a trailer for that.
racist against them. I forget the girl's name. She was in Transformers. She's like really
Megan
pretty,
Fox?
but not a great actress. No, different one. Anyway,
Was she that chick that was in
but
Mad Max?
I watched The Perks of Being a Wallflower for the first time, and I fucking sorry, pardon my French. I loved every second of that movie, man. I thought it was so good. From the intro, where they're like under the bridge at night, driving from the city landscape with like the lights from the bridge in downtown, and then so it's like a teen drama. It deals with a freshman in high school. You guys have seen it, right?
I have not, but I saw you tweeting about it.
Personal
Yeah, it's
wallflower.
like
No, I
it's
haven't.
like a teen drama, and I thought Edward Miller's in it. This is before he chokeslammed some broad. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I didn't know he
You
did
guys
that.
saw that on TMZ like 3 days ago.
What? I'll
yeah.
check that out.
The kid who's the protagonist in Hunters, he's I forget his name. He's the main character in this movie. But anyway, I expected like a lot of cringe with it being drama for high school, but it was actually really well rounded, I'd say. And I thought the acting was really good. Emma Watson's in it. She's his love affair, if you will.
Dude, hot take on Emma Watson. I think she's beautiful. I do not think she's that good of an actress. I just
Dude,
like
ooh,
good.
ooh. Dude, there's a
Has she-
scene. All right, Tommy, I'm not gonna ruin it. There's a scene in this movie where the main character like reveals a really intense piece of information with her, and I rewinded it like 5 times to watch her reaction because I thought it was so good. Yeah,
Has she
she's
done
like making a
anything?
milkshake, and I was like, oh my god, that was such a good reaction by her. I don't
Has
know.
she done anything outside of like Harry Potter? Like anything
She-
like really big?
Beauty and the Beast.
Oh,
Come on,
okay.
Smitty, what?
But dude, the only role I've ever liked her in was in This Is the End, where she plays herself. She's like a badass. Like that's the only time I've liked her in a performance. Like I'm not a huge Harry Potter guy, so like I didn't love those movies. Like I loved them until I was probably like in 7th grade, and then I was like, I'm done with this.
I think she's more like Broadway-esque type actress.
Okay.
Instead
Well,
of
that's
like,
the thing.
TV
Those Broadway
movie.
actresses like overact, and that like bothers me.
Yeah, that's fair. I would marry her in a heartbeat.
Oh, totally.
And
For the money and the fact that she's gorgeous.
listen, she could be the poorest woman on
Sugar
earth,
mama.
and I'd still marry her.
I don't know. Money's got to be there. Money can fix a lot of things.
Wow. All right.
All right, Smitty. What about you? What like best thing you've watched or thing you're looking most forward to?
So I've watched, with me being home all the time, I've watched a ton of stuff, but the obvious like Ozark season 3, that was, yeah, I think like that was probably, and I've said it on Twitter, like that was probably the best like overall season that I've watched like in television. I thought that show was awesome. I just watched last night. Do you guys have HBO?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you guys watched The Scheme yet? It's a documentary about like the paying players with Christian Dawkins.
Oh no, I've read them.
Check that out.
Yeah, it's a 2-hour. I thought it was gonna be like a documentary series, but it's like a documentary movie, and it's badass. Like, I mean, here's the deal, Tommy, and I hate to say this, but KU is gonna be just fine from watching this documentary series because
Wow, you've really changed the tune there, Tommy.
yeah,
You've been red pilled.
dude, it's
Picking up the text
Crimson
bell.
and blue.
like my heart hurts right now saying that, but like basically like the government and the FBI fucked this investigation way up, so that's pretty much the moral of the story. But yeah, I watched that last night.
How much does that hurt, Mike, to admit? Like, is that crushing? Because that's like your glimmer of hope for K-State to overlap KU in terms of basketball quality.
No, it's just KU's gonna KU. They get away with everything, dude. They make the NCAA too much money. And man, I'm shivering saying that.
That's in line with Tommy's comment about if Emma Watson was a porous man, he wouldn't marry her because she have some sort of. He said money makes a big difference.
Yeah, yeah. See, that we're going full circle. No.
If I'm at this stage of my life, like I'll admit I would be shallow and like only date somebody for the money. Because when I was in college, I dated this girl who her dad owned like commercial real estate in Chicago, and like just did not click at all. So like that ended like midway through my senior year. But I think like, wow, I really messed that up. Could have just been coasted at this point.
Yeah, no
dude, my ex is a pharmacist, and I'm like, dude, I could have just rode that coattail for a little while, just be a greeter at Walmart or something.
Yeah, it's me, but we all know, man, that's not the life for you, big guy. That's not. You're not living your best life if you're doing that.
Dude, I would kill it as a Walmart greeter.
Oh, I wasn't talking about that.
You'd be the best Walmart greeter.
Dude, I would run out of those smiley face stickers because everybody's getting a sticker.
Everyone's getting a sticker, unless they're Kansas, unless they got like a Kansas hat on and they're not getting one.
You talk about being shallow, Tommy. I'm just gonna go ahead and get this off my chest. Like when I would be on like Bumble and Tinder and Hinge, like back home in Kansas City. The girl could be gorgeous, but if she went to KU or wore KU, I was like, nah, hard no, dude.
Oh shit,
hard no. Yeah, that's how shallow I am. But you know what? I'll take anything.
I don't think that's shallow. I think that's principle. I don't even think that's being shallow. I think that's
loyalty.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could date a girl who was like a diehard KU fan. Honestly, maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, if she had a lot of money, I could probably figure that one out.
Every like Mizzou girl on Bumble that I match with, like, because I have like
probably hot as hell.
Jayhawks, love the Jayhawks and the Chiefs, and they always are like, is it going to be a problem that I'm a Mizzou girl or something like that? I'm like, something else, like, without fail.
Send them my way.
Single one.
Send them my way, big guy.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, we need to start looking out for each other. Like, I will Sawyer, pass your KU girls over to Tommy. Tommy, pass the Mizzou girls, and I'll just, if you guys find a K-State fan on there, just send her my way. But there's really not a lot of K-State girls.
I think you've got enough K-State girls to handle on Twitter, man. I think.
Yeah, you got like a harem of K-State girls.
I make myself look like an idiot just to hype you up with KSU Amanda.
It was great, monster.
Dude. Hey, shooters shoot, man.
Yeah,
I've had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, we've had fun watching. All right, well, I'm just gonna drop real quick what I'm looking forward to the most because I've watched Ozark season 3, incredible. I watched most of McMillions. I highly recommend that. That was awesome.
Yeah, I finished.
But I'm really looking forward to April 19th, The Last Dance, the 10-part Michael Jordan docuseries. I am counting down the seconds until that comes on because I cannot wait to see that docuseries. I'm really pumped for it.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not I'm not a big NBA guy now. I grew up watching Jordan. And I'm not about like the whole NBA or the Jordan and LeBron like comparisons. I get it, but dude, I loved watching Michael Jordan. I think those are obviously different times. Like I go to Timberwolves games now, and yeah, it's a completely different game. But yeah, I mean, I think most of us grew up on Jordan, so he's my goat. Yeah, he's my goat.
It's gonna be interesting to like pull back the curtain, and to some degree, because like everything you hear about Michael, like they're like it's all like kind of hearsay and like speculation, like with his father's murder and his gambling problem and like all these different things. But I think it'll be interesting to like pull back the curtain and like get some perspective on that from like people that were around then. Because like I've read autobiographies, not autobiographies. I've read like biographies about that season, like the 1994 season, like his last one before he left, and like or 93 season, sorry, before he left, and like the 98 season. And like Michael Jordan was a certifiable like asshole, like douchebag to his teammates. So I'm interested to just like actually see them like on camera, like talk about him, hopefully honestly, because I think there's a lot, like there's a Michael Jordan that people see like on the Haynes commercials and like owning the Hornets and all that stuff. But then there's just Michael Jordan who like alienates like his teammates and his family and like all these different things. So I'm interested to see like how much they're willing to like pull back the curtain on Michael. I hope it's not just a glorification of him, because he's like a supremely flawed athlete, like individual, like amazing athlete, but supremely flawed individual. And like I hope to like kind of see them like take a look at that with the series. Yeah. They won't, because they're ESPN and
LeBron's PR team. That's a good point though. Like, a lot of that's such a good point though, because like a lot of times we view athletes as like these untouchables, you know, and like, and not even just athletes, politicians, like everything they do, like we don't find the fault in, but like a lot of people are flawed. And like, I don't know where I'm going with that point, but it brings up a good point that like, it's easy just to like Patrick Mahomes, like I'm sure he's got flaws, but like I couldn't name one because I'm so in love with like what he does as a player and what he means for this city. And it's so easy to get caught up in that, you know?
Yeah. And I think like, it's not that people want to like know this stuff to judge him. It's that, oh, like he is human. Like he like has like his own problems and,
and they have such
everything else he's dealing with. Like take him down to like level the playing field a little bit, and like then people maybe will like be less critical, but also be like more objective in the way they look at athletes.
You know, and like I will say, like I can touch up on that just because what I do like for work, you know, working with the Royals and stuff. It was, you know, I saw the players all the time, and yeah, I kind of became numb to it. You know, the players are just people. You know, Danny Duffy, like that dude. You talk about flaws. He's had his, you know, like run-ins with, you know, the media and all that stuff, but like deep down he's a good dude, and he's just like one of us. And I developed a relationship with him just from being at work and seeing him all the time. And like I remember one time I was in Westport and I was going to Quick Trip in Westport to get some Grizzly wintergreen, and I walk in and Danny Duffy's standing right there at the counter, and like nobody is like saying anything to him. I'm like, dude, fucking Danny Duffy right here, you know?
Yeah.
And he turns around, and I think I was wearing like a Royal shirt or something, and he recognized me from work. He's like, what's up, man? And I was like, yo. And so he bought a log of Grizzly wintergreen. And so I go right behind him, and I go to the cashier, and I'm like, hey, could I get a can of Grizzly wintergreen? And she looks around, and she's like, no, he just bought the last of it. And Danny's poking his head in from the front door, and he's like, dude, you looking for Grizzly wintergreen? I was like, yeah, man. He's like, I got you, dude. And like, we just stood outside a Quick Trip, and this is right after you guys DUI. So we're sitting there BS, and he was on the disabled list, and I was talking to him. I'm like, dude, you all right? Like, you know, how's the arm? And he's like, it's good, man. I'm just got to get it stretched out. And he gave me the can of Grizzly wintergreen, and I was like, all right, man, later. And he hopped on like a bird scooter and just took off. And I was like,
awesome.
Holy shit. Like, did I just chop it up with Danny Duffy at the Westport Quick Trip? Just, you know, awesome. Like that. And like I said, nobody went up to him or said anything. Like I get like football, you got a face mask that covers the face. It's hard to recognize, but it's like, dude, Danny Duffy, you know, World Series champ.
Yeah. And we just want to interject that this podcast brought to you by Grizzly Wintergreen. They're not a sponsor, but would that be awesome? I think we all have like at one
just
point
all just start getting dips in, just start our episodes. Fat lippers.
I hope my parents don't listen to this.
Yeah, me too. Well, dude, let's segue from the Danny Duffy talk. We wanted to highlight for the meat of the show our favorite sporting, like Kansas City sports moments in like the last decade. At least for this episode, we're doing the last decade. So, Smitty, why don't you kick us off, because you've got probably the most important, at least from a baseball perspective, in Kansas City history in the last decade.
Yeah, my favorite sports memory that I've watched during all this time, and I've watched a lot of K-State videos, but for me, it was Game 1 of the 2015 World Series. That was just like We just got done losing the World Series in 14, and it was just a crazy time, like in Kansas City for me. And I was living in Westport, and I remember I was going to watch it at home. I had Google Fiber, at all, had this badass internet plan, and I go to make a pizza, and first pitch blackout, and like Google Fiber went out for, I think it was like 10, 15 minutes.
Right. I remember that.
And so I'm chilling in my apartment. My TV's out. I'm freaking out. I'm restarting the modem, everything. And I was like, you know what? I've had it. Like, I got to go somewhere. I got to like watch this. And so I take this pizza, this half baked pizza out of the oven, throw it into the trash. And I'm like, all right, where's the closest bar I can go to that's not going to be packed for game 1 of the World Series? And so, like I said, I was living in Westport at the time, and I was like, all right, Nick and Jake's, like just south of the plaza, I'm talking about, by like etc. and Minsky's.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go there. Well, so I'm driving over there. My car at the time, the radio didn't work. So I'm I'm completely in the dark of what's going on. Yeah, I'm so
worst case
off.
Scenario happening to Smitty.
Yeah, and I was so pissed off. And so anyways, I pull up to Nick and Jake's, and it's packed, but like this is about the best I can do. And as I'm walking in, like Esky's rounding third, and like people are just hooping and hollering.
Yeah.
And like I walk in, and he crosses home plate, and I'm like, holy shit, what just happened? And people, were telling me, first pitch swinging, and just watching that play again was nuts. And like,
yeah,
it was just crazy. I missed like completely the first, like the top half of the first inning. But yeah, walking in and seeing that, and like, it was just crazy. But anyways, from that point on, like it was Volquez versus Harvey, this was a big matchup, and, Edison was pretty much lights out through the fourth and, through the third, and the Mets end up tying it in the fourth. And then like, here's the thing. If you're not a baseball fan and you want to become a baseball fan, watch this game from like the 6th inning to the 9th inning. Like that is like pure baseball. And just, I remember us being tied, Gordon hit that home run and we tied in the 9th. And I looked at the bartender and I was like, it was already like a long game at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what happens if this game just continues to go into extras? And she's like, we'll stay open as late as we can. And
that's awesome.
It was just awesome. I mean, that whole game was awesome. I mean, like Hosmer hitting the walk off, like for us to win game 1 was huge. And I knew as soon as we won that game, we were going to win the World Series, because I was at game 2 and game 5 of the 14 World Series. And I remember walking out of Kauffman Stadium after us just losing the World Series to the Giants. And I was like, it's not going to take us 30 years to get back to the World Series. And little did I know that like that following season we would go win it, because baseball dynasties really don't happen, I mean, especially for Kansas City, like a small market team. Well, we're not the Yankees, we're not the Dodgers, we can't buy all these players, and you can't really do that nowadays. I mean, you look at the Yankees, I mean, I think they're kind of like Texas. Like they have all these good players, but they just fail to, get to the the prize jewel.
Yeah. So I was at that game. And like you, I was actually at game 2 and game 7 or game 6 of the World Series the year before. So I got to see like Ventura's incredible start in game 6 in 2014. And then was back for game 1 in 2015. And just like the electricity in the parking lot, like the electricity, like being back in the same place, but it felt different. Like it almost felt like we had so much momentum. We just like ran through the playoffs in 2014. But in 2015, we had like so many moments of like, okay, it's over.
Yeah.
Like there's no way back, that it felt like no matter what position we found ourselves in, we were going to find a way out. Very reminiscent of the 2019 Chiefs. Like no matter what situation we found ourselves in, we were going to find a way to win no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And like with that inside the park home run, like that was one of the most incredible like in-game sporting moments I've ever seen, because like you just see and you're like, oh shit, this is going to like, I'm pretty sure, who was it? Cespedes like totally misplayed it. And then you're like, oh my God, like he hasn't even touched the ball yet. And Esky's rounding second base.
Right.
And like just the electricity in Kauffman that night was just incredible. And then I remember, so we had season tickets as a family. So like my mom, my dad, and my younger sister, Mary Kate, were at the game, and my sister, like, God love her, just not super interested in baseball, was still in high school at the time. So like we get into extra innings. She's like, I've got like school and homework and early in the morning, and like my parents are like very like, you know, are very accommodating, but they were like, no, we are staying and watching this game. Do you not understand where we are right now? We are at like the first game of the World Series. We were staying here. Like we were watching this until like, you know, until this is over, we're staying. And that was just, dude, it was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in person. Just like the electricity. And like you said, Mike, from that moment, it felt like this is ours to lose. There's nothing that can like stop us from like being a team of destiny.
Yeah, no, I mean it's crazy to like look back at that team, and it sucks that like really there's not very many people. I mean, it's basically Gordo, Duffy, and Sal, but I mean Cuthbert was on that team. Is crazy. Mondesi, you know, now to see them kind of become like, you know, the faces of the organization, especially Mondesi, you know, him and Witt, but yeah, you know, like I said, you don't really see dynasties. So, you know, that window for the Royals to win was it. You know, they knew that they had to win then, or else, you know, wasn't
from
going to
someone
happen.
who's not a huge baseball fan, but like as a Kansas Cityan, I think everyone remembers where they were for that game 1 of the World Series because it was just so outrageous. I remember exactly where I was sitting and who I was with and where I was at, and it was just like there was just an atmosphere around the entire city that, which Tommy, I agree, felt different than the year before. It felt like we were destined to be there and to win. And I was the biggest bandwagon fan for that playoff push, man.
What did you guys go out at, like, when we won the World Series? Like, I went straight to Westport.
There were like 6 of us, and we all, when we won, it was Sunday night, right? Wasn't it on Sunday night?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember. I know where I was at. I was at Charlie Hooper's with like Joe and Craig and Mo, and like that whole crew.
Yeah, we went to Westport. We drove down there.
Yeah, we tried to go to Westport, but it was like sheer like
chaos.
Just like, yeah, like people on cars, like fireworks, like probably somebody shooting a gun in the air. Like I don't know, it was crazy.
Well, like, to your point, like I've got a picture on, I think on my Instagram, and it's like one of my favorite pictures, but it was just the center of Westport in that 4-way, like right in front of Kelly's and like Harry's, all the, you know, that 4-way right there, completely packed. And I mean, cops are standing on top of fire trucks. And like, we were talking to somebody, and I remember some kid was telling us like how he was walking by, and there was a cop doing like donuts in like an empty parking lot, like during this time. And like the city was wild. I mean, this was our first, I mean, we're all, you know, late 20s. So this was all of our first time experiencing a championship, you know, victory. And it was wild. I mean,
I didn't know
just that pure emotion. And I think like when we won the Super Bowl, when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl this year, it's like, all right, we knew exactly what we were gonna do. Like we're ready to party, you know. But like, yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things like you hope there's another one in your lifetime, but if that's it, like that was like the perfect time in our like respective like young adult lives for it to happen. Like just living in our like 20s and just like that's when like my parents were like the same age as I was when like they won it in 85. Like so like to that like for that to be like to kind of share that, be like, oh yeah, like we were in our 20s and like that, it was incredible. Like we were going out all the time and all this stuff. Like I saved no money from like September through November. Like
those playoff
2015, expensive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude.
Or 3.5 hours, 2 or 3 nights a week, crushes your bank account as a 22-year-old.
Yeah. So let's keep it moving. We could talk about 2015 World Series all day.
No shit.
But Sawyer, let's jump to your all-time memory.
Oh yeah, man, it was honestly tough. You know, Tommy, you know what honorable mention was? I think it's 2012 MUKU at Mizzou Arena. The Marcus Denman last like 3 minutes where he scored 12 points. I think it was 10 or 12.
Yeah. But I remember who got the last laugh that year because I think we went to the national championship that season.
That block charge call was debatable against Fieldhouse.
Okay, that's a whole nother episode. That's a whole other episode.
I mean, whatever. That day though, Tommy, I went on a depressed binge drinking like 12 hours after that game because it was like an 11 o'clock basketball game. Anyway, all right, so mine is 2018 MLS playoffs, championship round, which is like quarterfinals. Sporting was a 1 seed and Real Salt Lake was the 6, I believe, if I remember correctly. And so I think part of what makes it so memorable for me is I took my mom to the game, and I'd never done that before. Somehow, like I grew up playing soccer, my parents loved it, and they had always, been there for every game, taking me to every tournament, weekends packed with it, and for some way it like felt like an opportunity for me to like give back, I think that's part of what made it so extra special. And then the game was absolutely insane in terms of a soccer game. So my mom's like super anxious about time. And so we got to the stadium, we got there an hour early. I'm pretty sure we were there before half of the players. Just sitting, it was freezing cold, dude. We were just sitting in the stadium. The tickets are on the third row, probably 10 to 15 yards to the side of midfield, so they're really good seats, which was nice. So we got to sit there and watch everyone warm up, and we were on the Sporting side of the field for warm-ups. And so, like, for anyone who's unfamiliar, it was the second game of the playoffs. So MLS playoffs, each opponent, you have 2 legs, unless it's the first round, unless you have a bye. So the first games are sudden death. But so, like, the 2 legs work. First game, you play at home or away, and the second game you play home or away. And they add up the scores of those games, and whoever has like the greater difference moves on. And so the first game we played at Real Salt Lake, and we tied 1-1. And so if the scores are tied at the end of the second leg, like say it's 3-3 total, like say we tied Real Salt Lake that day 2-2, whichever team has more away goals moves on. So if we tied 2-2, Real Salt Lake would have moved on. So that's kind of what built the drama. So what happens in the game is we score Diego Rubio, scored 2 goals real early in the game. It was a really like frantic game. We played a really high defensive line with Opara and Beasler just kind of like went like Real Salt Lake tried to play a lot through the air over the top to get behind us. That's what happens when you play a high line. People try to get behind. And those 2 are really good in the air, and they shut that down. And then we go up 2-0. Everyone's feeling great. And then Real Salt Lake scores, and it's 2-1. And so this means if they score another goal and the game is tied 2-2, they move on, and we don't. We end up scoring a third. Ilie Sanchez, he's a defensive mid, and he's a monster. He's from the Barcelona academy, and he's really smooth. He didn't make it in Spain just because I think he's a little slow comparatively to the defensive mids in that country like Busquets for Barcelona. And then so we're up 3-1, looking really good, and like the game is so wide open, it's back and forth. Like we're attacking on their end, they're coming down on ours, and then they put in a second goal, so it's 3-2. And at this point, like we're in all out. Park the bus mode. Like we're in our own box. They're our own attacking third of the field, and they're just like hammering us. And it was like the crowd's going crazy. It's tense. And then in the 7th minute of stoppage time, I think this is part of why it's so memorable. 7th minute stoppage time, like we just blast the ball forward, and it's Daniel Salawi and Brooks Lennon is the defender on him. And if you don't know, Brooks Lennon is like, I think he's 22, but he's played on like all the U.S. youth national teams, and he's a good player and like one person who everyone thought was going to be like a really good prospect and like a vital part of like U.S. soccer. But anyway, Sally, he misplays it, and Sally, our forward, gets the ball and touches it around the keeper, who comes out and then does a no-look shot like on an open net. Like he looks the other way and finishes it, and like the stadium just erupts because we won, and it was just like it sealed the game. And I remember jumping around with my mom and hugging her, and it was just such an enjoyable moment. Just 90 minutes of pure chaos to that was really exceptional, and it's like a memory that I will never forget. And it wasn't even like a final or a championship or anything. It was just like an absolutely bonkers soccer game.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think
Well,
that's
and
like. Go ahead, Tommy.
like as a casual soccer fan, like watching on TV, it's one of those games where it's like, oh, I do like soccer because
Yeah,
it was so
exactly.
like
Yeah.
fast paced and like you were saying, attack, like constantly on the offensive. And so like for somebody who's just like a casual observer, like it's kind of like what Smitty said about like the final 3 innings of like the first game of the World Series. Like if you are trying to get into soccer, like that would be the type of game to watch or see in person, because it's just gonna like draw you like right in.
Mm-hmm. And like the drama of the playoffs, the tension, it's got it all. I agree. It's a really good game to watch if you're a casual soccer fan. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
What about you, Tommy?
Well, I've got some recency bias. I'm wearing my 2019 Super Bowl champions jacket, but my most memorable was one I was also at in person. It was the 2019 AFC divisional round against the Houston Texans. I think everybody in Kansas City like remembers this game for being like, again, one of those moments where you're like, holy shit, we're gonna choke again. Like again, we get to this moment, we have this great team, we feel like we're like rolling at the right time.
Felt invincible.
We're better than this Texans team that we lost to earlier in the year. Like this is our time to like kind of like come back and like just punch them like right in the mouth, like to start the game. And it did not start out that way, like at all.
No.
Like just the atmosphere leading up, like I tailgated with like the same group of like 20 people every game. Like just we like bet on the game. We had a huge tailgate. We were doing like, you know, like pregame, like toasts and just like everything. Like this season felt different. And then the game starts and like the offense is slow. Houston gets that first touchdown to like Kenny Stills wide open on blown coverage. You watch Daniel Sorensen misreads the coverage. He comes downfield when he's supposed to be deep zone. Touchdown. It's like, okay, busted play. It's one play. We'll be fine.
Right,
Seen that all year. Then like on offense, the Chiefs just are dropping everything. It starts with like Travis Kelce, first target of the game, like on 3rd and 9, dropped.
Yep.
Demarcus Robinson dropped like 3 straight like passes where he was like wide open on drag routes. Then like punt block for a touchdown. So we're down 14-0. And it's like, okay, you start like bargaining with yourself. You're like, all right, well, if we get a touchdown, even if they like we got hold of the field goal and then we get a touchdown, go to the half, it'll be like 17-14. We're down 2 score or down a field goal. So we get a defensive stop. We put Tyreek back to field the punt, which he like hasn't been like a regular punt returner like at this point in the season still. So like we're like, okay, they're putting him out there because we need some juice. Like we need to get the game broken open, and he muffs it at like the 3-yard line. So like this is when like the panic and like, oh shit, this is over starts to like come in, because like they punch it in, easy touchdown. They score 21-0. Same song and dance on offense. Go out. Demarcus Robinson drops another touchdown or another wide open pass. Field goal 24-0. It's like, okay. Again, the bargaining like starts getting like, how can I? Okay, so we're down 24. If we score, we'll be 24-7. Then we get a field goal. Even if we're only down like 24-10 and a half, that's like a surmountable lead.
Isn't that like right when Tyreek got like drilled too?
Blown the
like
fuck up.
He got
I
remember
smoked.
watching it thinking he broke his collarbone and being like, well,
yeah,
we're done.
You think he's gonna be out of the game, and then you're like, okay, it's over. So the next possession, they get the field goal, and like like you can feel like the stadium you're starting to lose the stadium, and that's a rarity in Arrowhead when we have good teams. Like to lose the crowd doesn't happen often. And McCole Hardman just snaps everybody right back into the game with like a 60-yard return.
Yeah.
3 plays later, swing past Damian Williams, 24-7. Okay, now we feel like we've got the momentum. Next possession, Houston 3-and-out, punt, fake punt. Dirty Dan, the garbage man, comes in and makes a huge play on Eric Reed.
God bless Bill O'Brien.
We scored 21 points in like 6 minutes, I think, or something like that. It was insane.
It was crazy. So then touchdown to Kelsey. That's his first of 3 in the quarter, or in the half. So we kick off. Fumbled the kickoff return. Forced fumble by Dirty Dan. So like Dan Sorensen is just coming up huge. Sorry, I can't remember your exact quote, but like Dan Sorensen is like the guy who you like complain about all year, and then just somehow in the huge moment comes up, either blows it or just comes through huge.
Yep.
And so recovered by Darwin Thompson. And I don't even think Darwin Thompson thought he could advance the ball because he almost stopped.
Yeah.
He either was in shock or
I think he was waiting for a block. It almost looked like he was like trying to get a block set up, but I mean that was so quick that not everybody's fully aware that we've recovered this thing.
Yeah. So that was insane. Arrowhead is just like feels like the whole place is about to like collapse. It's shaking like so hard. Another touchdown to Travis Kelce. So it's the second of the half. Get the ball. Houston gets the ball back. 3-and-out. Another touchdown to Kelce. So it's 28-24. Houston misses a field goal to end the half. And then second half, it's just more of the same. Just
it's over.
Beating the shit out of the Texans. And my favorite moment, it's so, like, if you were not paying attention, you missed it. It's when D. Will scores that touchdown from, like, 1 yard line. And he gets up and he lays the ball down in front of, like, Houston defensive tackle that's, like, laying on the ground. And he gets a 15-yard penalty. That was like my favorite moment because that was when I knew, like, okay, this team, it's over. Like TKO, like ring the bell, fat lady singing, it is over. And just like the atmosphere after the game, we're going to the AFC Championship. We're going to host it at home. As a season ticket holder, we get another game to watch going to that Tennessee game. And then that momentum just carried it. It felt like no matter what the stakes were, no matter how far we were behind the rest of the playoffs, like that was our signature moment that like kind of became our like calling card for the rest of the playoffs, whether it was against Tennessee or the 49ers in the Super Bowl. So that of the decade, by far my favorite sports moment. Just to be, I think if I'd seen it on TV, it wouldn't have been the same. But the fact that I was there and like just had to stick it out. I couldn't change the channel. I could leave.
Yeah.
That wasn't really an option. Like stuck it out and just like it was incredible.
Tommy,
Well,
go ahead, Mike.
I would say like two things for me on that game was I remember texting the group chat like right before we even scored, and I was like, look, if we just score one touchdown before half, we'll win. And that was before like that onslaught, that like the barrage, like the Chiefs offense just said, all right, like finally woke up. And that was the thing. It's like we knew we were better than Houston. Like we were losing not because they were better than us. It was all the Chiefs' mistakes. Yeah, exactly. It was like almost as if the moment almost got too big for them, but they pulled it back in and they didn't let it take advantage of them. Like Kelsey was dropping wide open passes, and then he goes and he had 2 touchdowns in the first half. He ended up with 3 total.
He had 3 in the first half. He had
3 in the first half. Okay.
He had 2 that were. He had like the one where he was coming across, then the second one where he like caught it at the goal line and then like forced it in, and that third one where Mahomes like had that like pinky toe and threw it in. And it was the most touchdowns, I think, most receiving touchdowns in like an AFC playoff game, like or like tied the record for most in a half, which is like insane.
There was a moment in that first quarter that I said to myself, if we lose this football game, I'm never watching a Chiefs game again. Like I was that disappointed and frustrated. I was in Grand Cayman with my family on family vacation, and my brother-in-law and I went to like an American bar that was playing the game, and it was packed full of Chiefs fans. And so like the first quarter was really, which is weird because you're on like this beautiful island, but it was like a really depressing, 45 minutes to an hour where like everyone's just like pissed, everyone's cussing, but we're still just like getting really drunk, to be honest. Like for the standards of a family vacation, like we were very drunk. And then we came back and took the lead, and everyone's cheering, and like it's like you feel like you're at a bar. You are, but you just feel that atmosphere. And we go back to the condo, and it's just like my family with my 2 nieces and my nephew, and like here's me and Kellen, my brother-in-law.
We're wasted.
We're jazzed up, like drunk. My sister's pissed at him. She's like, Kellen, are you serious right now? Oh, it was a good. I won't ever forget that moment either, and it's due to the Chiefs. Wow.
Yeah, and like I think that moment was like, I think a lot of people talk about the Chiefs' offense and like how explosive they can be, but cop car out of my house.
Yeah.
But I think because it was like on national television,
Everybody,
the whole country is watching. It's this moment now where going into 2020, everyone talks about like good luck trying to stop the Chiefs next year, because they're like the Golden State Warriors of the NFL. Like they literally can score and change a 3-possession game in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Like they will take their like they will get up off the couch that they've been sitting on all day and put their boot on your throat and not let up. Like they are capable of turning a game around so quickly. And so I think it sets up the narrative, hopefully, for what this Chiefs presumed dynasty. Like hopefully we have like this dynasty that everyone talks about. If we're able to finagle the cap structure and everything. But I think that it's not just a sign of what was going to happen at the end of last postseason, but I think you're going to see them rip roaring and ready to go when 2020 kicks off, whenever that is. I think you're going to see more of the same. Like no game is ever going to be the same with this team the way it's currently assembled. I don't think any team is going to go into a locker room like up like 17-3 on the Chiefs and be like, all right, boys, we're playing. It's going to be like, you need to, like, your deep coverage, like zone coverage, or like, whatever they're doing wrong is going to be like magnified that more than it would be in a typical game where like a team is up. Like it's going to be like, this game is not over yet. And most coaches like don't go into the locker room being like, all right, kind of time to coast. But I think you'll really see people revved up to like bring their best to try and stop the Chiefs, because that is really what it's going to take to stop that offense.
If you're an offensive coordinator in the NFL and that is not on the Chiefs, you have to be prepared to score at least 40 to 50 points when you're playing Kansas City. Like you have to open up the playbook. You have to score at will. And to be honest, like,
or just
you can't just do that.
Football, just hang on to it longer than we get the ball. Tennessee had a pretty strong formula against us, but I mean it broke down the second half. But
yeah,
I mean
you can only play the possession game and play keep away for so long. Like
mistakes will happen. I mean, look at the Houston game.
It works against a team like Baltimore, who, when one thing's not working because of the way that their offense is centered around Lamar Jackson. And I'm not trying to say that Lamar Jackson's a one-dimensional quarterback, but that offense is very one-dimensional in the fact that it relies heavily on like the run, like read option or the RPO. So when that's not working, I think it's really hard for them to adjust.
Shout out John
with the way the Chiefs' offense is structured. They can do so many different things that you stop one thing, but that you have to forsake stopping another thing to do that. So I think, you can play keep away with the Chiefs, but eventually they're going to get theirs. So, I mean, that's so biased because I'm like a huge Chiefs fan.
That's like Mike at the bar late night. You play keep away, but eventually he's going to get his, you know what I'm saying?
Dude, I'm like a lion in the tall grass, dude. I just chill, wait for my moment,
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
All right.
I was throwing some game at the girls.
We don't need to.
No.
You don't need to name any names, but
no, I'm not naming names. But
like, I'm not gonna say I blacked out, but I'll say I remember much of anything.
if you were a girl in Kelly's bar after the Super Bowl, chances are I hit on you at some point. Dude, I was just like, all right, what's up?
There was no chance.
Dude, same in like 2015 after the Royals won. It was like if you were at Hooper's or Kelly's that night, like I probably tried to shoot my shot.
Dude, yeah. Why not?
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the closeout. On Twitter, dude, the pick 3 has been like
It's
a
huge.
huge part of getting me through like this. So I'm like, I actually have to think about something today and like make like a critically think about like my choices here.
Right.
And so you got some great lists going. So why don't you intro the first pick 3?
Yeah, no, I went ahead and just like I wanted to do a Kansas City
Guys,
themed
did I
like
miss
pick
these
3.
somehow? Did I miss these on Twitter?
No.
I don't see like
The
the.
pick 3. The pick
Yeah,
3.
they're like everywhere, dude, on pick 3. It's
Yeah.
just random things.
It'll be
Oh,
like- it'll be like
I know what you're
pizza
talking about. I
place
thought you
pick
meant you
3, like-
put a thread on our Twitter, and I was like, what?
No, it's on the rundown.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, no, I wanted to do like a KC theme. So I started with barbecue, the best barbecue, top 3 barbecue, top 3 bars, and top 3 breweries, like local KC breweries. So yeah, I think barbecue's like the easy one, like because we like as Kansas Cityans, we
lot
can
of
debate
pride.
we can
of
debate this all day. And what's nice is like none of us are wrong.
Right.
Unless-
There's no wrong answer. It's just whatever
No.
your preference is.
Yeah, because our worst is like probably like New Mexico's best.
Yeah. Or like
But
best.
yeah, like I refuse. Here's something weird about me. I refuse to like eat barbecue anywhere else outside of Kansas City. That's how stuck up I am about
haven't
like.
Texas.
No, I won't even fuck with it. Like,
Texas
look,
barbecue?
here's the deal. I
Barbecue
know.
sandwich in Texas.
I know for a fact that my taste buds have had the best barbecue there ever is to have. I'm not gonna, downgrade. But
Okay. Questionable decision making on Mike's part, but we can move on.
when is anything I do not questionable?
If it were already taken as a name on ESPN, this podcast should be called Highly Questionable.
Yeah, no shit, right?
No kidding.
No, so barbecue joints, like I just went with like the usual suspects, like you got Arthur Bryant's, Jack Stack,
Listen, I don't think you
Gates.
have to give us a list. I think us grown men can just name three
Alright.
barbecue joints in KC. Sorry.
Okay,
Well, I mean-
I'm gonna go. Go ahead.
Continue the list though. I'm just giving you a hard
yeah.
time.
I'm going with Joe's, Jack Stack, and Q39. I mean, I know those are like the easy cop outs, but I'd say like it kind of just depends on like what you're going for. I think all barbecue joints offer something different, whether it's like the type of meat, like burnt ends, or the sauce. But to me, Joe's has like the best barbecue, hands down. I do like Q39. I know they're like still kind of like the new kids on the block, if you will, when it comes to like the big dogs like Arthur Bryant's and Joe's and Gates. But I do like Q39 as well. Like I think their burn ends are pretty heat. But yeah, I mean Jack Stack, Joe's, Q39. I mean you got to have those 3 in there.
Very, very traditional
Yeah.
of you.
Right.
Yeah. I
Minus
think those
Q30.
are all solid.
Yeah,
Yours
I
is
think,
Q30. Oh, minus.
no, mine are real traditional. Tradish, dude.
Is that a thing
Tradish, dude.
now? Are we
Tradish,
saying
dude.
that now?
I think I made it a thing. No, my top 3, my pick 3 are Arthur Bryant's, Gates. Their burn end on bun is like my favorite like thing in the whole world.
That pork
And then
on
Joe's.
bun?
And then Jones. Joe's, not Jones. Joe's, Casey Joe's. Just because like those are the ones like I remember as a kid, like going with my dad or like my friends and their dads, like to go like going to Arthur Bryant's and like the dads would get like pictures of Budweiser and we'd like eat like our like brisket on like white bread like sandwiches or like Gates before like KU tailgates. We'd go pick up Gates and like take it to the parking lot afterwards or before the game. And then with Joe's, like it was so close. I used to play a lot of like grade school football games at Miege, like at the high school by the practice field.
Right.
And Miege is super close to Oklahoma Joe's. So we would like go to Oklahoma Joe's and like grab a sandwich like after football games and stuff. So just like ones that like have like real sentimental, like
Sure.
that's why they're my favorites. Maybe not the best, but like they're my favorites because like I have such fond memories of going to those 3 places.
Yeah, right.
Dude, I think okay, so tell me, what do you like about Gates? I hate Gates. That's my cold
Listen,
take. I hate
I
Gates
love
so
the
much.
vibes.
Gates is on my top 3, and I personally like being verbally assaulted the second I walk in.
Yeah, that's part of it.
That is-
I love
Sometimes you just got to get you got to get beat down a little bit. And I enjoy it when I walk in there.
Dude, you got to keep your head on a swivel when you walk into Gates because like you can't go in there slipping. You cannot. You can't go in there slipping, dude.
I like that. I like that.
Next.
Yeah.
Hi, may I help you? Hi, may I help you?
First of all, you can just bring it down a little bit. I'm standing 5 feet away from you. Okay. You don't have to yell at me, but I'll take brisket on a bun.
Yeah. So Sawyer,
It's a good litmus test walking in there.
Gates,
really,
and what are your other two?
Gates, Joe's. I mean, how can you not have them on your top 3? Honestly.
Yeah, I think we can all agree Joe's is taking at least one spot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I really do like Jack Stack, so I'm gonna go those 3.
Dude, you know, like when I
need to try Rosedale's. I've heard great things. Slaps is good.
I've heard mixed reviews on Rosedale's.
I've heard good things. I just haven't gone to some barbecue joints enough to like be able to put them in my top 3. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a victim of always going to the same ones.
I'll tell you like a place that I like is that no one really has ever heard about is called Woodyard Barbecue, and it's I think it's okay. It's in Lenexa, right?
Kind of. It's like off of the highway. My dad and I go there because my dad and I smoke like meat,
cigars.
Like, yeah. And so we pick up on. I do smoke cigars.
Yeah.
But I was gonna actually outside smoke a cigar during the podcast, but it's raining, so like I can't do that.
It's freaking snowing up here. I'm so over. But you know, I'm like, whatever, dude. I'm just let it blizzard. I'm not going anywhere.
But Woodyard is awesome because you can buy like your wood there, whether it's like your cherry, your pecan, whatever it is, and then they have great food there too. So yeah, that is a hidden gem. I'd say that's like honorable mention for me. It would be Woodyard.
Yeah, nobody like really has ever heard of it. Like I love like you can sit out in like a brick laid out patio, you know, and just chill like on a like summer day. It's perfect with a beer. That's what I go for on a picnic table.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
I think, like you said, Smitty, there's really no wrong answers on these. So, like, I think whatever you pick, like, it's always going to be like the right call.
Right.
So, in the interest of time, we're running at like 107 right now.
Yeah.
We've got other pick 3s. We can save those for the next episode. I think we're going to try and drop that like Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, we can pick it back up. Let's come up with some other things too, you know.
Okay.
But yeah.
I think for anyone listening, like this is my first time ever doing something like this. I don't know about Mike and Tommy's, but I think the 3 of us I know we didn't really dive into MU, K-State, KU in the least bit, but we would really appreciate feedback. If there's something you're like interested to hear, or like a topic you want to discuss, or like even like things that could help us be better at these conversations, talking to one another, would be great.
100%. Yeah. Always room for improvement.
Oh yeah.
And
no, it was crazy. It was fun doing this. I mean, you know, we do this as it is. Might as well just see what it.
Except there's a lot more arguing.
Yeah,
we're
pretty tame today.
This is really maybe they want more conflict. To what we usually like.
Yeah, I think people are going to want more conflict.
Yeah.
So So to end it all, fuck you, Sawyer, and fuck you, Smitty. There's the conflict for the episode. Just kidding. Love you, boys.
Hey, Tommy,
happy Easter.
For, May 1st.
For you moving in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. Let's do it. May 1st, if you can.
Okay.
All right.
Happy Easter, guys.
Happy Easter.
We can do a joint video chat. So it's like you and me sitting together, like arms around each other, and then Smitty can
shirts
be on
off.
Yeah, shirts off for the boys.
Both our girlfriends on our laps.
Yep, we'll have girlfriends, but that's our promise.
Yeah. Next episode, y'all need girlfriends, dude.
Submit your applications to be our girlfriends.
If you're listening to this, we are all 3 single.
All single. Which is why we have the time to do this.
All right, see you, boys.
All right, boys.
Later, guys.
Happy Easter. Stay safe out there, everybody.